Topics for today. What is perimenopause and how is it different from menopause? What are the common symptoms of perimenopause? How long does perimenopause last? How can I manage the symptoms of perimenopause? What are the potential health risks associated with perimenopause? How can I maintain my overall health during perimenopause? When should I see a doctor about perimenopause symptoms? Key 1. Hormonal balance is key. Nutrition matters. Gut health is essential. Lifestyle modifications are extremely powerful at this time in our lives. An individualized approach is absolutely key. Evidence-based support is available to you, and tracking your progress is extremely empowering. Empowering perimenopause. 7 questions answered and 7 keys to feeling incredible. Let's dive right in. Question 1. What is perimenopause and how is it different from menopause? Perimenopause is this transitional period with hormone fluctuations. It's between our fertile years and between menopause, and menopause is the permanent cessation of menstrual periods, marking the end of your reproductive years. Menopause is in actual fact only 1 day, so you have to have no bleed for a 12-month period, and then on that day, 12 months and 1 day, you are considered menopausal, and everything after that is postmenopausal. So perimenopause is this crazy roller coaster where your hormones can fluctuate between your fertile years and menopause. It can start as early as 35, but most women that I see, for example, in my clinical practice, start to see extreme symptoms around their 43-year-old. They're generally about 43. 42, 43 is when it can get a little crazy or a little nuts. But yeah, don't discredit the fact that you could be perimenopausal early on. And also for anybody that is trying to fall pregnant later on in life, please don't be disheartened. Of course, you can have a pregnancy in perimenopause. Question number 2, what are the common symptoms of perimenopause? Now, I'm here to tell you that I have crazy lists of perimenopausal symptoms that I have collected over the years. The lists can go on and on. I think there are about 80 symptoms that we can relate to perimenopause. However, from an academic perspective, if we look at Professor Geraldine Pryor's work, I think she has a list of 9 perimenopausal symptoms and says that if you're experiencing 3 out of the 9, you could potentially be perimenopausal. Now, keep in mind that there is no test for perimenopause, and perimenopause is not a disease. It is a transition state. And I'm here to tell you that my aim is to create an incredibly powerful community of successfully transitioning women. So we can transition from this hormonal fluctuation or this roller coaster of perimenopause into our beautiful menopause. We are in midlife, so this can be an extremely empowering time for women, and I certainly want it to be. So some of the common symptoms of perimenopause are things like your periods could be becoming irregular. So say, for example, you were somebody that had a 28-day cycle or a 32-day cycle that was quite predictable. Your periods could now become quite irregular. They could become shorter or longer. You could have some hot flushes. You could have some night sweats. You could suddenly start to experience what I consider a physiological anxiety that's never been there before. So there are lots of different types of anxiety. I absolutely love Ellen Warrior's book, The Anatomy of Anxiety. Please have a look at it if you are a sufferer. It's absolutely brilliant. You could be experiencing sleep disturbances, mood changes. You could be experiencing that sort of mum or relationship aggro that I talk about, vaginal dryness, and potentially some weight gain due to insulin resistance. Thyroid issues and insulin issues and weight issues and autoimmune conditions are quite common during perimenopause. And there are lots of reasons for this. We can go into all of those reasons later on down the track. So here we go. Question 3. How long does perimenopause last? Depending on where you're Googling or what you're looking at, the duration can typically vary from about 4 to 8 years, but unfortunately it can last for up to 15 years for some women. For example, the average age of menopause is somewhere between 50 and 51. And if you start experiencing symptoms at 35, that is a long time to experience symptoms. And yeah, there's so much you can do about it though. It can actually be far more graceful then it can just be a far more graceful experience. You don't have to put up with perimenopause being awful. Question 4, how can I manage the symptoms of perimenopause? Now, I'm here to tell you that there has never been a time in your life where lifestyle modifications have been more powerful or when you notice them more. So lifestyle changes like a healthy diet and regular exercise, stress management, and sufficient sleep can significantly alleviate symptoms. And on the flip side, if you are eating an awful diet full of highly palatable kind of junk food and not exercising or moving, and your stress is out of control, or you don't have any stress management in place, your perimenopausal symptoms are going to be awful. And that roller coaster is going to have you on very high highs and very low lows. Hormone therapy and other medical treatments, beautiful botanical medication, and incredible nutritional supplementation can be absolutely incredible for perimenopause. So please make sure you see your healthcare provider and you do get some support during this time if you are experiencing symptoms that are getting in the way of your life. Question 5, what are the potential health risks associated with perimenopause? As I mentioned before, lots of women in perimenopause come to me with either adrenal issues or thyroid issues or autoimmune conditions that have just popped up during perimenopause. Lots of women are diagnosed with fibromyalgia and MS during perimenopause. And so there are lots of health concerns or issues that can raise their ugly heads in perimenopause that aren't caused by perimenopause per se, but keeping in mind that due to the insulin resistance piece, that type 2 diabetes or that high blood glucose or high HbA1c or high fasting insulin levels can be extremely high during perimenopause due to the changes in estrogen and progesterone and the way that your brain uses glucose. So there's never been a time in your life that you have been more inflamed with less energy than during perimenopause. So lots of things can crop up. An increased risk of osteoporosis and heart disease and urinary incontinence can come to the forefront during perimenopause. So regular checkups and preventative measures are so important during this period. So question 6, how can I maintain my overall health during perimenopause? It's a really important time in our lives to adopt a healthy lifestyle, stay informed about bodily changes, and seek support from healthcare professionals, friends, and family. I don't think that this stage of life is talked about enough, and women are quite often left really confused and wondering what the hell is going on. And so many of them actually don't see this coming. They suddenly stop sleeping. They suddenly start to put on weight where they haven't changed anything when it comes to the way they eat or the way that they move. They suddenly experience this physiological anxiety. They might have a dry vagina or absolutely no interest in their partner. They might suddenly have these uncontrollable moods and they don't know what to do about them. There are so many things we can do. We have internal vaginal pessaries for any of the vaginal issues. We have the most incredible mood support in the form of adrenal supports and things like B5 and magnesium. And taurine has been brilliantly researched in terms of perimenopause. So has Melissa, so has ashwagandha. There's so many gorgeous, just vitamin B6 can really help with the nervous system, for example. But don't just throw any supplement at your perimenopausal symptoms. Make sure you do see a registered healthcare practitioner that can prescribe an evidence-based botanical or nutritional support for you that really has got that evidence base behind it so that you do know that what is being prescribed is in fact going to work. And it isn't just sold to you as a food group, like a lot of the supplements on the shelves in supermarkets. They are not governed by the TGA, they're governed by the FDA. So for example, they could have 99% rice flour in them and 1% magnesium, and you're wondering why your magnesium supplement isn't working for you. So please, there's so much you can do. And the botanical medication and nutritional support is extremely efficacious, and there's evidence-based scientific research to back it up. So question 7, when should I see a doctor about perimenopausal symptoms? So honestly, it's literally when you're just at that point in time when you're like, something is NQR, I really need to be investigated. I'm either feeling exhausted, absolutely smashed, I'm waking, I've started to put on all of this weight, I'm feeling really down. You really do need to have a full blood panel You need to have your thyroid investigated. I would really recommend that you request to investigate your fasting insulin levels and, of course, all of your female hormones. I absolutely love the Dutch test. It's a really great test to see where your progesterone and your estrogen and your cortisol and your androgens and your melatonin and all of these gorgeous hormones that are meant to be working in this beautiful symphony and supporting you through your life, having a look to see where they're at so that you can get the best support in balancing them. So if symptoms are severe and persistent or affecting your quality of life, please make sure you reach out and you speak to someone. So here are 7 important things that women in perimenopause need to know to feel incredible. Number 1, hormonal balance is key. Like I said before, there has never been a time in your life where you have been more inflamed with less energy due to the fact that progesterone is going MIA and estrogen is roller coastering at this point because progesterone keeps estrogen in check. So understand and address your hormonal fluctuations to enhance your well-being and alleviate your symptoms. And this is absolutely possible with botanical medication, as well as nutritional support, and of course, hormone replacement therapy or bioidentical hormone replacement if needed. Key number 2, nutrition matters. Again, there has never been a time in your life where you have been more inflamed with less energy. So it is so important that we are getting a nutrient-dense, rich blood supply. We are eating enough. We see so many eating disorders in midlife. Women in perimenopause are suddenly freaked out by the fact that they're putting on weight, so they start restricting. Restriction only puts adrenals under more pressure, and please keep in mind that the adrenals are under so much pressure as it is, because you're going from an ovarian production of hormone to an adrenal production of hormone during this transition. So it is so important to send the message to your body that I am fine, all is well, I'm at peace, I'm not at war, famine is not on its way, so that your body has this gorgeous, nutrient-dense, rich blood supply with enough macros and enough micronutrients in order for your body to have that peaceful biochemical message, not thinking it's in a war zone, not thinking famine's coming next, so that you've got enough cholesterol to make all of these beautiful hormones that you so desperately need. And please keep in mind that your brain absolutely loves fat as fuel during this time. So there's some incredible ways that we can eat, when we eat, why we eat, how we eat, what we eat. All of this stuff makes an incredible impact in perimenopause. And these are all of the things that I teach inside of my programs. Please, if you have any questions, reach out. I'm here for you and I absolutely love this work. But make sure you're eating enough protein is so important, particularly if you're insulin resistant. It is imperative that you're getting protein first thing in the morning. And the general guidelines are that you have 1 gram of protein per 1 kilogram of ideal body weight. So please keep that in mind, and that's daily. So make informed food choices and follow personalized protocols. And when I say personalized, go through the process where you're understanding your trigger foods. This is so incredibly imperative because of the inflammation, and trigger foods can wreak havoc in the body. So they can bust through the gastrointestinal tract lining. Those inflammatory cytokines can attack your brain and attack your joints. They can cause joint pain and muscle aches. Like I said before, lots of fibromyalgia and MS is diagnosed during this time in our lives. And there's so much we can do about this with regards to nutrition to down-regulating this inflammation systemically in the body. So your food really is your medicine at this time. Optimize that nutrient intake and promote hormonal balance. Gut health is absolutely essential. If you have an inflammation in your gut, you have an inflammation in your mood and your mind. And that exacerbates the inflammation that is actually physiologically already there due to the fact that this transition state is one of a high inflammatory state. Progesterone is anti-inflammatory. And like I said before, she is going MIA. So it is so important that we do everything we can to keep our systems as anti-inflammatory as possible. So take care of your gut to improve your digestion, to make sure that you can access all of the nutrients you are taking in and create and make those beautiful hormones and neurotransmitters to keep you balanced and stable and feeling gorgeous. So nutrient absorption and overall health is imperative, and this heavily relies on amazing gut health. Lifestyle modifications are extremely powerful too. Implementing stress management, regular exercise, sufficient sleep to enhance energy levels, mood stability, and overall health. Sleep, sleep, and sleep during perimenopause. Rest is in fact success, and rest is progress. Number 5, an individualized approach is absolutely key. There's not one perimenopausal woman in my clinic that presents in exactly the same way as the other. We are all so individual. We have such individual biochemistry. We are genetically individual. We need to make sure that our epigenetics work with our individualized genetics. So it is important to work out an individualized prescription and tailored approach to what works for you individually. Some women need a little more protein. Some women need a little more carbohydrate. Some women sleep fine, but the others are having crazy night sweats or mood issues. So really, whatever it is that you're experiencing, you need to speak to somebody that can develop an individualized program and work with you to work out what works well for you. Of course, you need to speak to a registered healthcare practitioner that has all of the study and all of the degrees and, of course, years and years of clinical practice behind them, so that they can take all of that theoretical construct and overlay it on your individualized circumstances and story, of course. So please, a tailored support and an individualized program is ideal for optimal results. And evidence-based support is absolutely available. So utilized evidence-based botanical and nutritional medicine, it can absolutely change your life and certainly turn down the volume on some of those very nasty symptoms you can experience during perimenopause, along with personalized prescriptions to address specific concerns during this stage. So if you match your beautiful evidence-based nutritional botanical medicine to your individualized dietary guidelines, and you match that with moving in a way that you absolutely love, and adopt some incredible stress management tools like breathing, meditation, walking, yoga, Pilates, you name it, journaling, singing. You've got to find something that works for you, and you create this beautiful roadmap so that you can be vital for good and you can transition successfully and you can prevent chronic disease now and in the future. Tracking your progress is so empowering. I highly recommend that all of the patients in my clinic use a diary. In our programs, we have something called the Health Chronicles, and I've devised this set of markers that we need to track on a daily basis. For example, your mood or your anxiety or your depression or your sleep, or how you felt after eating certain foods. So keeping a health journal to monitor changes in mood, energy levels, sleep quality, and so many more factors help you understand what works for you so that you actually have it written down. It is so powerful. And also celebrating those achievements and then fine-tuning that approach. I think it's really powerful to write it down. I know that so many people rely on their Apple Watch or their Oura Ring, for example, but in actual fact, you spending a moment to invest in yourself and journaling your process, I think is an extremely beautiful gift that you can give to yourself, particularly during this time, just taking a moment out for yourself. Ways to work with me, of course, please book a clarity call. If you have any questions in particular, I would love to answer them. Our clarity calls are free. Book a Chaos to Calm initial consultation with me. Come and see me in the clinic or online. And then, of course, join me for the repair program where we can repair your waistline, your mood, your immunity, your gut, your metabolism, and so much more, and get you well on your way to feeling comfortable in your own skin and really starting to balance those hormones. Yeah, the link is in the bio if you need anything. And like I said before, please reach out. I love a chat and I'm looking forward to answering all of your questions. Thank you so much for being here with us again.